Monomials and polynomials. So remember the first thing we started with in chapter 7, we talked about the exponent rules. Then we got into polynomials. We talked about adding, subtracting polynomials, multiplying polynomials. This is where we talked about FOIL. So all those things happened in chapter 7. First problem we're going to do here is number 3. So you get a polynomial expression. You have mx to the third plus 3 times 2x squared plus 5x plus 2 minus 8x to the fifth plus 20x to the fourth. They tell you that this simplifies to 8x to the third plus 6x squared plus 15x plus 6, and they want to know what's the value of m. If you get a problem like this, where you're looking for some sort of mystery number, the first thing that you want to do is simplify it just like you would if m was a regular number. So what we're going to do is we're going to distribute the mx to the third to all 3 of these things in your second set of parentheses, and we're going to distribute the 3 to all 3 of those things in the second set of parentheses. When you do that, mx to the third times 2x squared would give you 2mx to the fifth. Remember that when you're multiplying these things together, you are adding the exponent. So 2mx to the fifth plus 5mx to the fourth. Well, that does not look like a 5. That's better. Plus 2m x to the third. So that's what you get when you multiply all those things inside your parentheses by the mx to the third. Now you're multiplying everything by 3, and I'm just going to put it underneath here since I'm running out of room already. So plus 6x squared plus 15x plus 6. So that's what you get when you distribute your mx to the third and your 3 to your second set of parentheses there. What you have to do here is just change the signs of both of those things. So minus 8x to the fifth minus 20x to the fourth. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to rearrange this with my like terms next to each other, and that's going to help me answer this question. So I have 2mx to the fifth. I have negative 8x to the fifth. I have 5mx to the fourth, negative 20x to the fourth. I have 2mx to the third. I have 16x squared. No, 6x squared, not 16x squared. 15x and 6. None of those things have like terms. That's why I just wrote them all in the same color. So those guys all circled in green, all written in green, they just come down. So here's what you know. They tell you that this expression simplifies to 8x to the third plus 6x squared plus 15x plus 6. That means these 2 blue terms are going to cancel, and these 2 purple terms are going to cancel. If those things are going to cancel, remember that means it equals 0. So what this is telling you is 2m minus 8 is going to give you 0, and 5m minus 20 is also going to give you 0, because these things have to cancel to get the correct simplified answer. So you're looking for a number that when you multiply that number by 2 and you subtract 8, you get 0. When you multiply that number by 5 and you subtract 20, you get 0. The number that you are looking here for here is 4. 2 times 4 gives you 8. 8 minus 8 gives you 0. 5 times 4 gives you 20. 20 minus 20 gives you 0. The last way you can check this is think about this. So if you know that you have 8x to the third in your simplified answer, and right now you have 2 times m times x to the third, 2 times 4 x to the third would give you 8x to the third, and that works. That's what you want. Don't overthink these things. It's basically just a matter of thinking, okay, what number times what number is going to give me what I need here? So keep that in your mind. Number 3 is kind of similar. You're looking for a mystery number again, but you have to use your exponent rules here. So you get the expression 3 to the 4th times 3 to the nth. That little asterisk is just a multiplication symbol in there. And they tell you it's equivalent to 3 to the 20th. What has to be the value of n? This requires you to remember your exponent rules. Remember, when you are multiplying things with like bases, you're adding your exponents together. So what you know from that is that 4 plus n equals 20. You can solve that equation, or you might just know by looking at it that 4 plus 16 gives you 20. So keep your exponent rules in mind with questions like that. Next, we're going to number 7. So number 7 tells you that the side length of a square is equal to 3 to the 6th millimeters, not milliliters, which expression is equivalent to the area of this square. This requires you to remember exponent rules and remember how to find your area of a square. So remember, with a square, your area is just going to be your side squared. In this case, you know your side length is 3 to the 6th, so 3 to the 6th squared. Power of a power rule here, you're raising that 3 to the 6th to the 2nd power. Remember, you're going to multiply your exponents, and you get 3 to the 12th, which is answer choice A. Number 8 is another exponent rules problem. So you're simplifying this expression using your exponent rules. So you have 10 to the negative 6 raised to the negative 2nd over 10 to the negative 4th. First step here is going to be to get rid of those parentheses on the top. So you're raising that negative 6 to the negative 2nd power. Again, power of a power rule tells you to multiply. Negative 6 times negative 2 gives you positive 12. So now you have 10 to the 12th over 10 to the negative 4th. From here, since you're dividing things with like bases, quotient of powers rule tells you to subtract your exponents. So you're going to end up with 10 to the 12 minus a negative 4 power, since it's negative on the bottom. Minus a negative, remember, is going to change to plus, and this becomes 10 to the 16th, which is answer choice D. So keep your exponent rules in mind. Next, we're going to 13. Again, another exponent rules problem here. So you have 32x to the 9th divided by 8x to the 3rd. They just want you to evaluate this or simplify it. You didn't see them look like this in class. You saw them, we started with fractions rather than with your little division symbol in the middle. So my suggestion is to first write it like this, 32x to the 9th over 8x to the 3rd. That's probably going to remind you what you need to do here. Remember, you want to kind of think about these things as separate. So the first thing we want to do is divide 32 by 8. 32 divided by 8 gives you 4. So that becomes 4. Now we're looking at your variables and exponents. Again, we're going to use quotient of powers rule here, and you're just going to subtract your exponents. 9 minus 3 gives you 6. So you have 4x to the 6th, which looks an awful lot like answer choice B. (14) is another one where you're looking for the value of some number that they're giving you. So you start with the expression 24a to the 5th b to the 3rd over 6a to the nth b. They tell you that this simplifies to 4b squared over a squared, and they want to know what has to be the value of n. The only thing you are concerned about here is the a to the 5th over a to the nth. So I'm going to pull that piece out of this expression, a to the 5th over a to the nth. When you are looking at your simplified answer here, you have a to the 2nd on the bottom. So that tells you that this is going to simplify. You have a to the 2nd on the bottom to 1 over a to the 2nd. Just look at the pieces of this that you need. Don't overthink it. With a to the 5th over a to the nth, you know that you're going to use quotient of powers rule, and you're going to subtract. So you get a to the 5 minus n power here. What you have to think about, how do I get from a to the 5 minus n power to 1 over a to the second power. If your exponent moves to the bottom, that tells you it had to have been negative. So now you can kind of deduce from that a to the 5 minus n power, that does not look like an n. You're going to have to end up with a to the negative second so that your answer can be 1 over a to the positive second. So now you know that 5 minus n equals negative 2. You might want to solve this like an equation. You might already know which answer you're going to pick. If you solve it like an equation, subtract the 5 from both sides. This guy goes away. Now you have negative n equals negative 7. Divide both sides by negative 1, and you end up with n equals positive 7. So your answer here is going to be answer choice C. If you want to just double check that this works, go back to what you started with. A to the 5th over a to the 7th, you can check your answer. You would get a to the negative second power when you subtracted there. And then remember, exponent rules tell you can't have negative exponents, so you have to flip it, move it to the denominator, and change the sign. So it works. (17) is another exponent problem. They're just asking you to simplify here. So you have 4m squared n to the 4th times 7m to the 8th n squared over m to the 5th n to the 7th. We did ones that looked like this in class. My first suggestion would be get rid of those parentheses, split them up. So 4 times m squared times n to the 4th times 7 times m to the 8th times n to the 2nd all over m to the 5th times n to the 7th. Remember our next step with exponents. Bring your plain old numbers to the front, 4 times 7. Then put your variables in alphabetical order. So m to the 2nd times m to the 8th times n to the 4th times n to the 2nd all over m to the 5th times n to the 7th. On the top, you can simplify by multiplying your two numbers together. So 4 times 7 gives you 28. I'm coming over here since I'm running out of space. M to the 2nd times m to the 8th. Remember, you're going to add your exponents together, and you get m to the 10th. N to the 4th times n to the 2nd. Again, add your exponents. You get n to the 6th. Still dividing. Don't lose the things you have on the bottom. You have m to the 5th and n to the 7th. Last step to simplify here. That 28 is going to stay. M to the 10th over m to the 5th. You're going to subtract your exponents. You get m to the 5th, and it's on the top. N to the 6th over n to the 7th, you end up with n to the negative 1st. So that's your last step to simplify, but remember, you're not allowed to have negative exponents in your answer. So the 28 and the m to the 5th are going to stay on the top, and that n to the 1st, or just n, has to move to the bottom, which looks like answer choice D. Don't forget your exponent rules. Next, we're going to number 20. So you get a triangle, and they tell you the perimeter of the triangle shown is 19z minus 7. They want to know which expression represents the length of the remaining side. Remember to find your perimeter. You're adding up all your sides. So in this case, we'll call this A, this B, and this C. You know that your perimeter here, A plus B plus C, would be equal to 19z minus 7. We did a problem almost identical to this, actually a little bit more difficult in the 7-5 notes. So you have seen something like this before. So you know that A plus B plus C is going to equal 19z minus 7. We know an expression for A, we know an expression for B. You know your perimeter is going to be A plus B plus C equals 19Z minus 7. You know the expression for A is 8Z plus 3. You know the expression for B is 5Z minus 9. You can put them in now, or you can move the A and the B over. Whatever works for you is fine. I'm going to subtract A, subtract B from both sides first. So minus A minus B. Now I have C equals 19Z minus 7 minus A minus B. To simplify here, though, I need to put this 8Z plus 3 in for A. Make sure you put it in parentheses. And I need to put this 5Z minus 9 in for B. So when I do that, C equals 19Z minus 7 minus 8Z plus 3 minus 5Z minus 9. From here, change your signs in both your second sets of parentheses since you're subtracting them. And C is going to be equal to 19Z minus 7 minus 8Z minus 3 minus 5Z plus 9. To pick your answer, you need to simplify. You just need to combine your like terms. So 19Z, negative 8Z, negative 5Z, when you combine those things, you get 6Z, negative 7, negative 3, positive 9. When you combine those things, you get negative 1. So you want to choose answer choice A. Again, we did a problem exactly like that in your 7-5 notes. Number 21 asks you which expression represents the product of 2xy and 3xy plus 5y minus xy squared. Product, remember, tells you to multiply. So we're taking 2xy and we are multiplying that and 3xy plus 5y minus xy squared together. Distribute this 2xy to all three of those things in your parentheses. 2xy times 3xy gives you 6x squared y squared. 2xy times 5y gives you 10xy squared. And then 2xy times negative xy squared gives you negative 2x squared y to the third. And that looks like answer choice D. Next, we're going to 23. So you get an expression, 5x plus 3 times x squared minus x minus 4. And they want to know what's an equivalent expression. So basically what they're asking you to do here is simplify. So you need to distribute the 5x to everything in your second set of parentheses. When you do that, you get 5x to the third minus 5x squared minus 20x. And you need to distribute the positive 3 to everything in your second set of parentheses. So plus 3x squared minus 3x minus 12. First step, remember, is to distribute. Second step is to combine your like terms. So we have 5x to the third. We don't have any terms that are like that, so it's just going to come down. We have negative 5x squared. We have positive 3x squared. Negative 5 plus 3 gives you negative 2, so this becomes negative 2x squared. We have negative 20x, negative 3x. When you combine those, you get negative 23x. And then last but not least, on the end, you have that minus 12. So that looks an awful lot like answer choice C. '26 is another question where you have mystery numbers. In this case, you have to find two things. So you get a polynomial expression, my squared minus 4y plus 3 minus 5y squared minus 2y minus p. They tell you what it simplifies to. It simplifies to 4y squared minus 2y minus 4. And they want to know what are the values of m and p. Just like the last couple that we've done with mystery numbers, simplify this like you would simplify it. So get rid of your parentheses, change your signs in your second set. So my squared minus 4y plus 3 minus 5y squared plus 2y plus p. So we need to just figure out what m and what p are. You have my squared minus 5y squared. And you know it simplifies to 4y squared. So you're deciding what number minus 5 gives me 4. 9 minus 5 gives you 4, so this has to be 9y squared, which tells you m has to equal 9. And you have positive 3 and positive p, and you end up with negative 4. So 3 plus p equals negative 4. 3 plus what number gives you negative 4? You can think about it that way, or you can just subtract the 3 from both sides. This guy goes away, and you end up with p equals negative 7. So m equals 9, p equals negative 7, which is answer choice D. Last multiple choice question we're going to do together is number 29. So they're asking you to simplify here. You need to distribute first, so you need to multiply first, then you're going to have to subtract. So this one's going to be a little bit complicated. So we are distributing the y to all 3 of these things in your second set of parentheses and the 2 to all 3 of those things. When you do that, y times y squared gives you y to the third. Y times negative 5y gives you negative 5y squared. Y times 3 gives you 3y. Now you're multiplying everything by 2, so plus 2y squared minus 10y plus 6. I want to simplify that before I subtract the second set of parentheses. So y to the third is coming down. 5y squared plus negative 5y squared, plus 2y squared gives you negative 3y squared. 3y minus 10y gives you negative 7y, and you have plus 6. Now I need to change all these signs, and I'm going to bring those down. So negative 3y to the third minus 4y squared plus 6y plus 10. Now I'm looking for my like terms. So I have y to the third, negative 3y to the third. When I combine those, I get negative 2y to the third. I have negative 3y squared. I have negative 4y squared. When I combine those, I end up with negative 7y squared. I have negative 7y, positive 6y. When I combine those, I get negative 1y, or just negative y. And then last, I have 6 plus 10, which gives me 16. And that looks like answer choice C. So now we're going to go to the second open-ended question. So this one tells you that a manufacturer makes rectangular blankets in several sizes and styles. The outline of a popular blanket in size A is shown below. Part A for this question asks you to write a polynomial expression in simplified form that represents the perimeter of the blanket. So perimeter of a rectangle, remember, is going to be 2L plus 2W. In this case, here's your length, here's your width. Remember, it doesn't matter which one you call which. So when you write your expression here, 2 times 3x plus 7 plus 2 times 2x minus 3. 2 times 3x gives you 6x. 2 times 7 gives you 14. 2 times 2x gives you 6x. 2 times negative 3 gives you negative 6. except 2 times 2x does not give you 6x, it gives you 4x, so fix that. Pretend that it was a 4 the whole time. From here, to write your simplified expression, you're just combining your like terms. So 6x plus 4x gives you 10x, and 14 minus 6 gives you 8. So the perimeter of that blanket would be 10x plus 8. Second part of this asks you to write a polynomial expression in simplified form for the area of the blanket. Area of a rectangle, remember, is length times width. So to find the area here, we're going to multiply together 3x plus 7 and 2x minus 3. So you're multiplying two binomials here. You can use your choice of methods, the box method, the distributive property, or FOIL. Whatever makes you happy is fine. I'm going to use FOIL. 3x times 2x gives me 6x squared. 3x times negative 3 gives me negative 9x. 7 times 2x gives me 14x. And 7 times negative 3 gives me negative 21. Remember, with FOIL, you're always just going to combine your like terms in the middle. So your area in this case is going to be 6x squared plus 5x minus 21. Last part of this part C tells you that the same style blanket in size B has a width of 2x plus 10 and a length of 4x minus 10. We're going to write a polynomial expression in simplified form that expresses the difference in areas of blanket sizes A and B. So the first thing we want to do is write an expression for the area of that blanket in size B. So your area here is going to be 2x plus 10 times 4x minus 10. Just like last time, FOIL it together, distribute it, whatever you want to do. 2x times 4x gives you 8x squared. 2x times negative 10 gives you negative 20x. 10 times 4x gives you 40x. And 10 times negative 10 gives you negative 100. Combine your like terms in the middle. Now you have 8x squared plus 20x minus 100. So that is your area for the blanket in size B. Pretend that says blanket. So that's your area for blanket B. This is your area for blanket A. To find the differences between sizes A and B, we're going to take B minus A. So 8x squared plus 20x minus 100 minus 6x squared plus 5x minus 21. Kind of squish in on the edge there. Change your signs in your second set of parentheses first. So 8x squared plus 20x minus 100 is going to stay. Second set of parentheses becomes negative 6x squared minus 5x plus 21, squished in there again. Combine your like terms. 8x squared minus 6x squared gives you 2x squared. 20x minus 5x gives you 15x. And negative 100 plus 21 gives you negative 79. So the difference in area of those two blankets is going to be 2x squared plus 15x minus 79. All of this down here on the bottom. So with chapter 7, remember you're seeing a lot of exponent rules, you're seeing a lot of multiplying polynomials together. Keep those things in mind. Make sure that when you are multiplying things with like bases, you're adding the exponent. So that's going to be important for problems that you're doing on your own.